This has been less than 24 hours since our broadcast yesterday, where we shared a little bit of information and some new feature rollouts when it comes to Amazon KDP. Part of that was talking about the Amazon categorization glitch. Okay, so I'm going to discuss that, and I'm also going to talk about a new feature that is inside the dashboard here. And all that to say this, let me just summarize a couple of these points here. With the categorization situation, it is a glitch. I'm going to explain the glitch, and those of you out there that I don't know what to do to work around these things, I'm going to give you some potential ways to do this. And those of you that are new, that aren't aware that you can have up to 10 browse paths or categories per publication, might want to stay tuned for this. So let's go ahead. Let's start it out with the very first task right here is going to be talking about archiving your titles within the KDP dashboard. Now, for this specific item, and this came out just within the last day or two, according to a few people. If you go into your dashboard, you see archiving, you're probably saying, what does that mean? Well, originally, when you want to unpublish a book, it just kind of stays inside your dashboard. It doesn't go anywhere. It becomes digital clutter. For new people, that's probably not such a big deal, but for more established people, you're going to see you got dozens upon dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of publications. I see you low content publishers out there that's going to clutter up your KDP dashboard, especially if you're wanting to do first editions, second editions, third editions, and you're just going to depublish those things or delist them. It stays in your dashboard. So now when you select the ellipses that's along the side of your published manuscript that has been unpublished, there's an archive option that you can go ahead and archive it. Now, if you want to unarchive or view those unarchived things, it says just change your bookshelf view to archived. This was a feature I said a long time ago. I thought it was absolutely ludicrous that Smashwords, the aggregate publishing platform, nailed it. This was something that they really just nailed down really, really well. Let me take you inside the Smashwords dashboard here. When you would unpublish a book, it would then give you the option to archive it, meaning it would just take it out of sight so you're not having to scroll through 50,000 publications that you don't have any interest in really revisiting anytime soon. So Smashwords had it nailed, and I said it so many times, I was like, KDP needs an archive. They need to get it to where you get archived, so it just moves all of the publications that you're not currently going to even look at, put it off somewhere else. We don't want to see it. Like, I'm not going to revisit it, and if I do, I'll just go into the archive and I'll pull it out. So that is a fantastic new addition. So as we start to dive in just a little bit more, we're going to talk about the categorization system. Please let me know where you're watching from, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, and what part of the world are you watching? Do you have any questions for me? Fire it off inside the chat or inside the comments down below. I do respond to all comments. Alrighty, now let's get on into the very next feature, and that is talking about the categorization glitch. I discussed it yesterday, but my good buddy Dave Chesson reached out to me, gave me a text, and he's like, yeah, you kind of got it wrong. Okay, so here's the deal. Let's walk it back just a second, because I want to make sure that newbies understand this as well, or people that aren't aware of this that's available. For each one of the books that you publish through KDP in your dashboard, you're allowed to have up to 10 categories. Now, I know that probably messes with your mind, and you're probably saying, but when I go in and I select my categories, Dale, all I see are 2 categories. And you are not wrong. No, you're correct. This is actually called the BISAC. Now, I think it's the Book Industry Standards and Communications Categorization or something like that. Either way, the BISAC is a code, a categorization system that is used between the US and the UK. However, Amazon doesn't use those categories on their marketplace. They know how to create categories to draw in more customers and to make it to where it's more intuitive. What you're doing when you're selecting those 2 categories inside your dashboard is you're letting Amazon know this is kind of where I belong on the bookshelf. Then, based on the keywords that you select inside your 7 backend keywords, Amazon's going to get to work and say, all right, we're going to drop you in this category, and this category. And it's typically up to 3 of these categories. You're selecting 2, but if you see on your product page after a sale, you'll see 3 pop up sometimes. So in that event, that's nice. All right. So here's where the confusion comes. Is you're like, okay, you just said it can have 10 categories. Absolutely, you can. The very first thing you're going to want to make sure that you do is confirm what categories that you're using currently. So you can literally do that by scrolling to the very bottom of your dashboard at the Contact Us, and it's very intuitive, and just drop in your ASIN for your publication or the ISBN and say, hey, what categories do I have associated to this? And they'll typically send it on back to you. There's another resource I'm going to share with you in just a moment called bklnk.com. You can always take a look at your browse paths that way. By the way, if I say browse paths, that means categories. It's the same thing. So at any rate, you go into bklnk.com, you use the category search, and you can always just drop your ASIN there, and it'll spit it on back to you and tell you what categories you currently have. All right, so here is where the biggest issue comes. And thanks in advance to Jane Friedman from the Hot Sheet. Her newsletter is fantastic. I highly recommend everybody get a subscription. I picked up one last night myself. I took a year off, and darn it, I really missed out on this particular publication. And that's why I'm having to correct myself here, folks. You're not in danger with the advice that I gave you yesterday, but you are slightly misinformed, and my apologies for that. So at any rate, we come on over here to the Hot Sheet, and this is where we're going to discuss just a little bit more about discrepancy that has been popping up recently. And we're going to start at the very top here. And by the way, I'm not going to read all this out of respect to Jane Friedman. Go over to the hotsheetpub.com and get yourself set up with a membership. I believe she does have like a free trial you can try out. You try it out. It's really good. It's very, and Jane, by the way, is highly respected in our industry. So let me just read real briefly here. And up until recently, authors self-publishing through Amazon KDP could apply to 10 categories to their book and also rank simultaneously in all of those categories if selling like gangbusters. But in early September, this is where the discrepancy comes along. There were categories that were just disappearing. Like people were just showing for 3 categories at one time, even though 10 was assigned to a specific book. So this is all information that was given to Jane by Alex Newton from K-Lytics. By the way, big shout out to Alex. You scroll down just a little further, and this is the information that I was trying to communicate, but I miscommunicated it yesterday, and for that I am sorry. Dave Chesson from the Kindlepreneur actually was able to chime in. Some have already asked Amazon to remove some of the 10 categories that have been applied to their books so they can better control or direct where their books go. We reached out to Dave Chesson of Publisher Rocket about the situation, both to confirm the ranking limitations are occurring. Essentially, this is happening up to 95% of titles, and these limitations happen in a very specific way. In short, it appears it's no longer possible for books to rank in more than 3 categories under a level 4. You're probably going, okay, Dale, you are officially speaking a different language, and I totally get it. Stay with me for just a second here, because I'm going to show you how this works out. Because what we want to do is, let's just find any number of books on Amazon. We're going to go to Amazon, boom. We scroll down. If we were to look into the product details, you will see typically the specific categories. So let's just go into friendship fiction. Let's try friendship fiction. Why not? Okay. On the left-hand side, I want you guys to really pay close attention here, because this is where the tiers start to break out. So we start out with a level 1 here, and we're going to reference back over here to Dave's article here. It starts at Kindle Store. So when you're looking here on the browse path or the category, number 1 is Kindle Store. Number 2 is going to be Kindle eBooks. Number 3 is literature and fiction. Number 4 is genre fiction. And then you see below this is 5, the 5th one here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 5. So the 4th level here at genre fiction, we can only be able to get exposure for 3 of the subcategories below that level. All right, so if you hear me say level, you hear me say tier, it's one and the same. So when you're looking at that specific browse path, you pay attention to level 4, any of those 3. If you add a 4th one, it's not detrimental. You're not going to get in trouble, but you're not going to appear in all of those lists. That's the biggest issue. You're not going to appear in those categories. Excuse me. Let me repair what I was saying. So at any rate, and this goes further on. If anything below 4, if it's 5, 6, or 7, doesn't matter. Any of those 3 below that category. So this is where you're going to want to cast a wider net. Find categories that are still relevant to you. If you discover that you're only able to squeeze out 3, so be it. Don't be a category squatter, meaning that you don't want to select categories that are not relevant to your publication, regardless if you think you're going to make the bestseller list. It's not a good idea. I promise it will not end up well. So let's go on in here again. Now you're going to say, what do I do with this information, Dale? Let's say you find a specific book. Why don't we grab Kitty Johnson's latest book? And I'm going to grab this ASIN. And we're going to go on over here into the category finder here on bklnk.com. And you go into the categories feature, scroll on down. We'll be able to see Kitty Johnson's latest publication. And you can see all of the assigned browse paths that are associated with this. See how it builds it out? So let's go on down here, Kindle store. We see Kindle ebooks, literature and fiction. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So anything below 1, 2, 3, 4 women's fiction means that we can't have more than 3 under there. Now, this is not a rule they came up with. This is just the discrepancy that we were able, that Dave Chesson and the folks over there through the hot sheet were able to uncover and find out. And I think it was actually more importantly, Publisher Rocket to be straight up. But they were able to understand that, okay, we can only have 3. And after 4 or anything beyond 3, they're just going to select the best 3 ones. That's it. They're like, yeah, the rest of those, whatever. So you've got the ability to do 10 categories per publication type, ebook and paperback and hardcover. Make sure that you're selecting wisely. You can use that tool, bklnk.com. It's 100% free. And you just drop in an ASIN and you can look up anybody that is a competitor of yours or a collaborator or somebody within your niche. And you can be able to see those specific categories. Or you can do it the old school way of things and just go right on in where we were before here. And you would look down the browse paths and you can just sit here and just click through them. So let's just say, for instance, I'm going to go back to Kindle eBooks. I'm looking for nonfiction. So right now we're on 1, 2, 3. Let's do health, fitness, and dieting. There's 4. I can now only select about 3 of these and actually place on those 3. All right. Now, can you still pick 4 or 5 underneath that tier 4? Absolutely. But right now, with this weird glitch that's going on, or maybe it's something that they're working on, it's only allowing you to appear for 3 below that tier 4. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully I did it some justice. Big shout out to a couple of our live viewers from yesterday correcting me on the situation, saying you can still get the 10 categories. Absolutely. You just may not appear for all those categories. And for those of you that are not making much sales, you're probably not going to appear inside the categories anyways, unless you're digging really, really, really deep into that category. But in most instances, if you haven't had sales, it's probably not going to be discoverable quite yet, especially when you're doing a search. So, all right, questions, concerns, and comments. Hopefully you did not have that clap ring out through your ears. My apologies. R.A. Morley, hey, Dale, hope you're having a great day. I'm having a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Tales from Another Dimension on Amazon. Dude, you ain't wrong. Robbie, thank you so much. And by the way, we are multi-streaming out across every platform. I felt it only right that I had to come back and correct yesterday's broadcast so no one was freaked out. Any correlation between account terminations and shutdowns, put it off to the side. Has nothing to do with this. Absolutely nothing to do with this. A lot of this has to do is, how is your book appearing on the Amazon platform? Make sure you're selecting the proper categories that's appropriate to you. If you don't feel like slugging it out, I highly recommend get your hands on my preferred category research tool through Publisher Rocket. Yes, this is a quick plug. You can close your ears if you don't want to hear it. It is an affiliate link. Go over to dalelinks.com/rocket to give it a shot, and they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. I've had it since 2017, and I've made more than my money back on that thing. So try out Publisher Rocket. It'll save you so much more time because all you got to do is just type in a keyword and it'll pop up those browse paths for you. It'll be a little bit more work. A little more work moving on. Actually, you know what? Let's try the same thing. We're going to go into category search. So here, if for instance, we were looking up, I don't know, post-apocalyptic. There we go. So we've got post-apocalyptic Audible books. I forgot to narrow it down. Come on, Dale. Let's go with just Kindle books. There we go. So I've already popped up these things just like that. Rather than having to sift through and find people's categories that are within my niche, I can just simply go on over here. But we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Anything below this, 5? Okay, we got 1 here. So it doesn't look like we have any redundancies on this. But if these 3 categories were, pertinent or relevant to my publication, then of course I would have to probably pick one or the other. And the cool thing is you can actually see the ranks on here to see what type of competition you have. All right. And you can also see what percentage are large publishers and what percentage is Kindle Unlimited. Very cool, right? Love that new feature, by the way. Big shout out to Dave Chesson again. Book 1 of the lyrical series, Let There Be Fire, will be free on Smashwords between December 15th and January 1st. There you go, folks. Go check it out. Thank you for these updates. I really appreciate it from Australia. Thank you so much, Omana. Excited I caught this live. I'm rebuilding my publishing business. Super excited to be back on the journey with y'all. Hey, happy to have you here too. Missouri, yes. Yes, don't forget to hit the like button. I do appreciate that, folks. You're freezing. I'll have to see when it's not live. My apologies. I do have a question about category listens. Oh, you're talking about it now. Hopefully I answered those questions. Oh yeah, and when you get those categories, by the way, you just go into the dashboard, scroll down to the bottom and hit contact us, and you just request it that way. You get the ASIN or the ISBN of your print book and you say, hey, could you add me to these categories? You may want to know which ones you have automatically assigned because a couple of them might not be relevant. As I mentioned, some of the automation is not perfect here, folks. So you might be requesting 2 different BISACs inside that's the categories inside your dashboard. And then you have your 7 keywords. It's going to try the best it can to put you in the right category. But there's been numerous times over the years where I've had a book and I'm like, why did you put it in that? It has nothing to do with that. And so, yeah, it definitely, you want to make sure that you check the current 3 browse paths that you have on your listing before you do request the other ones, because you may want to hold on to them or you may want to get rid of them. Definitely something to consider. But again, there's nothing to be alarmed about here, folks. Yeah, we should be concerned, but nothing that is going to be like account terminations or suspensions. There's no doom and gloom on this one here. You can have up to 10 categories per type of product, ebook, print book, and that is, of course, in hardcover or inside the paperback as well. In Canada, nice. Florida, Minnesota, what's going on? I'm scared of these new changes. Hopefully getting KU page flips and sales will make money flow like the spice. Oh, okay, there you go. I see someone says there's no sound either on YouTube. Yeah, my apologies. My apologies on the no sound. I went for a while. Problem was I forgot to switch over chat and I was checking the mic before because someone had mentioned they were like, could you put a pop filter on? No, I'm not putting a pop filter on. I'm not an audiobook narrator, so there's no need for it. But I will back up the microphone, and I also put on a bigger fuzzy foam thing here. Popping by to check in on Dale and everyone. You talked a bit about your Kindle Vella journey. I've been around for bits of it. How often can I look forward to details on how it's going? I'm bummed about the audience not being there yet. It's not that there's not an audience. It's just that a vast majority of the audience that the Vella platform is serving is romance and erotica. It's just, I don't want to sound bitter because I'm not. I'm just disappointed. I see so much more in the Kindle Vella platform, but it is greatly being inhibited by the fact that it's just a popularity contest. So those that have a very good following can come on there and they can get all the likes and they can get all the faves that they want to. And then if they upload at a very consistent pace, they'll be at the top of the charts in no time. And this is not a platform per se with an author that doesn't have very much of a following. I think those that actually were the early adopters, people like Callie Chase, my writing coach, they were really able to capitalize on that. Is that success as much as it once was? And I'm not speaking for her or any of those other ones. Possibly not. We've seen a lot of this, the reading habits shifting over towards Kindle Vella. And as a reader, I'm kind of disappointed because when I read my Kindle books, I will go in and when I'm done with a specific Vella episode, they'll go, hey, because you read this book, you might like these Vella series. And I read a horror book and it said, because you read this horror book, it was recommending romance and erotica. No, I don't want to read smut. I'm sorry. That's just not my thing. I want to read horror books. My thought would be recommend those horror books to me, like recommend the horror series on Kindle Vella. And so knowing that as a reader that I'm frustrated with that aspect of things, it frustrates me even more as an author because what does that lead me to believe? If I'm sending my very modest amount of readers through my series and they're being recommended to romance and erotica, it's going to be completely turning them off to the platform. This is a new platform. Why are you suggesting the wrong categories for the type of books that I really read on a regular basis? I'm not one to open up romance books. Sorry. And erotica, definitely. Can't think of the last time I did that. So yeah. That's my stance on Vella. I think the only way I will get excited about them again is if they get global distribution. They get global distribution, we make it work. There was some information they were going to share with me this year, but unfortunately they had to back out and they said they would get back to me later on. Do you think it might also be because of it not being well known? Vella, yeah, that really is. And they're advertising it. They're definitely advertising it, but it's leaning a lot towards romance reading. Oh yeah, if I'm getting suggested genres I never even look at, I'd be frustrated as heck. Yeah, it is. Like, I'm like, oh, here's some suggestions based on Mark Lefebvre. By the way, shout out to Mark Leslie Lefebvre. Mark's a sweetheart of a guy. I got done reading one of his books and great, it was fantastic. And I go over and I read my buddy, Thomas A. Bradley's recent release on The Sum of All Parts on Kindle Vella. And I get to the bottom and it was like recommended reads and it says romance and erotica, all these faved ones. And I don't want to see that. No, stop. Get your machine learning in order here. You're drunk, go home. So I call and they resubmit and tell me to wait 72 hours, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. After the third round of 72 hours, when they acknowledge the glitch and submit it into the tech department. Oh, music calendars, request category under music calendars. They send me a confirmation email, but it doesn't take. Any suggestions about how to avoid the eternal loop of 72 hours in the future? It sounds, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds to me like you're doing low content books. If that's the case, I almost, and I don't want to speak out of turn, this is my opinion, but I don't think KDP thinks highly of low content books. They don't prioritize that area. So that might be why you're not getting as much traction as you would like to. So you just have to be persistent. Just request again. And what I would say is maybe wrap it up with, when can I expect to see this change? So you just got to be patient with them. Don't get angry. Don't attack them. It's a human being on the other side of things that you are actually having a conversation with. Yes, they give us canned responses, but that doesn't mean that we should strike out accordingly. So just be patient with it. It really sucks. I would say if you have the opportunity, get on phone support. Get on phone support or even the live chat. That is limited. So you have to check out the hours, go through contact us inside the bottom of your dashboard. You'll be able to find all that information out. We're going to start to wrap up things here in just a moment, please. If you folks, you want a little bit more information again about what I covered with the categorization glitch that's going on Amazon, please go pick up a subscription to the newsletter for Jane Friedman. It's called thehotsheetpub.com. So thehotsheetpub.com. I'm not paid at all for this. I don't even know Jane. And I think that she puts out some great stuff. So you guys really want to be up to date, follow Jane. Jane's going to give you all the information that you need to know. But all that to say this, let me go ahead and I'm going to kind of summarize things. If you guys have last minute questions, pop them up. Otherwise, I'm going to disconnect after this. We've got a new feature inside the KDP dashboard. It's archiving. It's fantastic. I love it. Bravo, KDP. Yes, I love it. Could you fix reports, please? Fix reports. The next thing is the categorization system. There is in Amazon a known issue within the author community. Not sure if they know it or Amazon, but they've had plenty of complaints. So chances are very likely they're on the same page, but there's a known issue with Amazon categorization. So if you end up selecting up to 10 categories per publication, remember that you're only going to be able to place right now for about 3 of the tier 4 and below selections. If you missed that part of the video, you're going to have to back up because it's very scientific and it'll take me another 15 minutes. I just don't want to even talk about it anymore. So in any event, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Robbie from Boston, how you doing? How often should I release a Kindle Vella episode? I was at the Kindle Vella talk in Vegas at 20 books. And specifically, here were a couple of things they mentioned. They said consistency is the thing. I think they said upwards of 1 to 3 episodes per week, but only publish according to what you can handle. Like they really want your mental health in order, not like freaking out. I've got to get things out because I was freaking out a while. Now I'm just doing 1 per week. The other thing they said is 1,500 to 2,500 words seems to be the sweet spot for readers. I'm sure because it costs 15 to 25 tokens, which is kind of nice. Me, I don't really care about how many tokens it costs. If I read an episode I really truly like and I want to turn the page, take my tokens. Take them. But that's the type of reader I am. I'm going to pay for the tokens and I enjoy the experience. I really do like Vella as a platform. I like a lot of these indie authors I probably would have never even noticed before because it's so crowded in the whole KDP and KDP Select space that it's hard to kind of get to those ones. But, go to frequency that's going to best serve your abilities. I hear a lot of people saying 2 to 3. I'm sticking with 1 per week. But I'm not worried about making millions at this point. I'm just monetizing my homework. It's a way of me subsidizing my writing coaching sessions. So that way I can be able to pay for those things and vice versa. Although I probably need to sell a lot more copies of my Kindle Vella. But I'm going to, probably start to focus a little bit more on marketing Vella once I start to get the novels in place. Because right now I'm just focused on becoming a better fiction writer. And I just don't feel comfortable in my skin yet as a fiction writer. Nonfiction, you can wake me up out of a dead sleep and I'll be able to write you up a 20 to 30,000 word manuscript within a day. It's what I can do. All right. Next question is author Tom says, I just wonder how many people realize that Amazon KDP, Kindle Audible, we're not the only game in town anymore. They aren't the only game in town. And hopefully, as long as they're tuning in here, they're going to learn about those platforms. Places like Findaway Voices, Audiobooks Unleashed are 2 great audiobook platforms. And then you got aggregate publishers like Draft the Digital, Publish Drive. You got Blurb, Lulu. There's so many options out there. Folks, the only reason why you see me talking about Amazon KDP so much is because you are the ones that want to hear about more about it. If you want to hear more about the other avenues, then I got to see the demand for it. So make sure that you just continue to tune in and make sure that you ask questions, even if you feel like, oh man, this is a stupid question. No, it's not. Trust me. I've heard a lot of questions over the years, including someone even asked me, what did KDP stand for? It's Kindle Direct Publishing, by the way. That might seem like a stupid question, but everybody's been a noob before. Everybody's been a beginner. I was a beginner. Heck, I still feel like I'm learning the business. So a new challenger approaches. Yeah, Operani on eBay says, love the archive feature. I'm archiving right now. Nice to get the clutter out of sight. Now I could do the same with my living room. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yep. So great. Virginia Beach. Ooh, love me some Virginia Beach. Ease Graphics says, what's the weather like where you are? It is cold, but no snow yet. No, it's in the 40s. It's in the 40s, a little bit of a breeze. But I'm bloviating here, folks. Hey, by the way, a great way to kind of help support the cause if you go over and visit the selfpublishinghub.com. That's the selfpublishinghub.com. And you can actually be able to get access to my new video on demand services. And it includes a couple of the DIY publishing courses for beginners, advanced content, no content publishing, as well as the keywords course. Oh gosh, and nonfiction authors course as well. And then more recently, I launched behind the scenes exclusives for Book Rescue, as well as the Secrets of the Perma-Free Book. Learn how to make your book permanently free and make a little bit of money in the process. So go over to theselfpublishinghub.com. Again, a big plug over to Jane Friedman, thehotsheetpub.com. Go subscribe to your email newsletter. There's a trial. You got nothing to lose. Try the trial and you can always just stop after a while. But I think you're going to be blown away by the information that she gives. Honestly, I got a kindergarten degree compared to her college doctorate, So, definitely take a look at her. And also, if you want to make life a little bit easier, try out Publisher Rocket today. Go on over to dalelinks.com/publisher/rocket. That's dalelinks.com/rocket. And you get 30 days. If you're not happy with it, within that time, you can always return it. But I find that it is just an absolutely great, fantastic tool. In the meantime, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do truly appreciate the support. And hopefully we won't have to be back here tomorrow night. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Special shout out to my channel members for both the podcast channel and the main channel. Without your support, some projects we do at Self-Publishing with Dale would be much harder to fund. If you want to contribute to the cause, visit dalelinks.com/memberships for details and get your on-screen shout out at the end of each broadcast. Till later, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale.